for our second requirement for trigonometric functions is to graph the function y equals 3 cosine 2 theta, and once again from the interval 0 to 2 pi. And show you how to get... Oh, actually, I don't need to show you how to get the points, so that's fun. And then I need to tell you what the amplitude and the period are. So first of all, the period of the function, and I think I said this in the last one, but I might not have. The period of a function is generally the length of one cycle. And to find the period, the equation is 2 pi over b. And b is this part of the equation, which in this case is our 2. So you plug that into this equation for the period, and then you simplify it. So it becomes 2 pi over 2, and then the 2's cancel, and it just becomes pi. So then the length of one cycle is going to be pi for this cosine function. And then the 3 here is the amplitude. And the amplitude is like the height, so how many units it'll go up and how many units it'll go down. But it can change depending on typically a phase shift, or not a phase shift, a vertical shift. But the formula for that is this. The formula to find the amplitude is 1/2 times the maximum value minus the minimum value of a graph. So for this one, it's 3, which means that on the graph, it's going to go up 3 units and it's going to go down 3 units. So technically, it's like 6 units apart from top to bottom, but because you divide that in half, it becomes 3. Anyways, so yeah, this is the like formula kind of thing for a cosine function, and it's also for a sine function. It changes depending on if you have a phase shift or a vertical shift, obviously, but this is just the general function. So, and like I said, A is the amplitude and B is what you plug into here to get your period. That's typically what you use B for, I believe. And then I said again here, amplitude is 3 and period is pi. So that means that the line is going to go up 1, 2, 3, and that's gonna stay the maximum, and it's also gonna go down 1, 2, 3, and that's gonna stay the minimum. And then this is a cosine function, which I probably should have mentioned earlier. It looks like this. That's kind of the general shape of a cosine function, obviously, unless it has a phase shift or a vertical shift. But in this case, it doesn't have either of those, so that's very good. And you don't have to worry about this on the left side of the y-axis. That's just something that I couldn't cut off in Desmos, and same thing over here after 2 pi. So as you can see, this shape is kind of like this. It's really stretched like top to bottom because the amplitude is larger than you would normally have, or I normally have anyways. So it's just kind of pulled, if that makes any sense. And because the period is only pi, that means one cycle. The period is the length of one cycle. So that means from 0 to pi is only going to be one cycle, which, as you can see, that is one cycle. And then, but because the interval is supposed to be from 0 to 2 pi, which is from here to here, there are going to be 2 cycles because you can fit 2 of them in between 0 and 2 pi. So from here to here is one cycle, and then from here to here is an extra cycle.